If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return,
but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And a good morning to all of you. Dominic Carter here, and we have a lot that we are dealing with this hour. So obviously, the blizzard has exited New York City and the tri-state area, leaving us with an enormous amount of cleanup. But this hour, we're dealing with a very despicable, disturbing story. I'm not talking about Gavin Newsom. I'll get to him in just a second. What I am talking about is what occurred in Washington Square Park in New York City. It's one of the most disgraceful attacks on law enforcement, on blue, I have ever seen in my life. Now, I'm not even going to portray it as racial, and one could make the strong case that it was racial because the police officers involved, from what I can see in all the videos, all happen to be white. All the people throwing the snowballs happen to be African-American young men. So the story is this. New York City police officers pelted with snowballs in the face, in the back of the head. Snowballs smashed on their neck, smashed on the back of their head. This happened repeatedly. They were injured in Washington Square Park as the group of young men doing the attacks, I should say plural, they just laughed and thought it was the funniest thing ever. Dominic Carter here with you, 800-848-9222. It's a sign of how badly things have fallen in society when it comes to police-community relations. And where are the leaders in the black community telling these young men that their behavior is absolutely despicable? You're not going to hear a word. Peep. Also, California Governor Gavin Newsom is being criticized over what's being called a racist viral clip telling a black mayor, "I'm like you," before touting his poor SAT score. Newsom was speaking to an audience in Atlanta, Georgia on a book tour, and he's firing back tonight in a profanity-laced statement. And we're going to get to what Newsom has to say. He says, "How dare you basically call me racist when you didn't give a S about the president of the United States posting an ape video of President Obama or calling African nations assholes, but you're going to call me racist for talking about my lifelong struggle with dyslexia." He posted this on X and said, "Spare me, you fake effing outrage." And he's talking to Sean Hannity there. We're going to get to that in just a second. But I have to start with one of the most despicable videos I've ever seen, disrespecting the blue law enforcement. Multiple NYPD officers hit with snowballs, injured in Washington Square Park. Now, years ago, they would throw the snowballs from on top of the rooftops in the housing projects. No, that's not what happened. They were only inches away from the officers. In all the videos I've seen, all the officers are white. All the young men doing the throwing are black. And they're inches away, and they're literally disrespecting the officers in their face. Officers had responded to the park around 4 p.m. Today for a report of multiple individuals on top of a roof inside Washington Square Park. For those of you listening outside of New York in different states, Washington Square Park is, of course, connected, if you will, to New York University. It is known throughout the country and throughout the world. Now, multiple officers were taken to the hospital with lacerations to their face. The New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch took to social media tonight, calling the behavior disgraceful and criminal. The PBA is calling the incident unacceptable and outrageous. We'll continue with the reaction in just a second, but I want you to hear and just listen to the ambient noise. And towards the end, you'll hear them laughing, trying to egg the officers on as they're smashing them only inches away with snowballs and throwing snowballs in the back of their heads, the back of their necks. It was just awful.
How you accomplish snitching? You good? You okay? Let's do it.
And so a horrific scene. And from the videos, and I've been looking at a lot of them tonight, I didn't see not one officer pull his gun. They all happen to be male officers. Again, from the videos I could see, they're all white officers. And this group of defiant young African-American males engaging in despicable behavior. Didn't your mother raise you any better than this? 800-848-9222. The PBA and their response, and I'm going to read it to you because that's how horrific this video is. This is the environment that New York City police officers are up against. Our police officers are being treated for their injuries, but this case cannot, and the word cannot is capitalized in there. The PBA said in a statement on social media, the individuals involved must be identified, arrested, and charged with assault on a police officer, and all of our city leaders must speak up to condemn this despicable attack. The head of the Detectives Endowment Association for New York City is calling on Mayor Mamdani and the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, good luck with that, to make sure the people responsible for the crime is prosecuted. Going on with the statement, no free pass, no get out of jail free card. Make no mistake, detectives will do what they always do. They will identify those involved and they will apprehend them. Our men and women in blue deserve to be safe. They deserve to be protected, and they deserve to be respected. They earn it every single day. Perhaps this is why I'm not in law enforcement, and perhaps it's not the responsible thing to do. But if I had been pelted with snowballs the way these officers were, I probably would have shot somebody in the face. That's probably why since they thought it was so funny to smash officers in the face with snowballs, literally smashing them in the face and in the neck and so on, I would have probably, in all likelihood, shot somebody in the face. We'll have more on that, and we see all your calls coming in. We'll deal with that momentarily. California Governor Gavin Newsom ripped over what's being called this racist viral clip, telling the African-American mayor of Atlanta, Georgia, "I'm like you," before touting his poor SAT score. And Newsom was speaking to an audience in Atlanta on a book tour stop.
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you, I'm like you. I'm no better than you. You know, I'm a 960 SAT guy. And, you know, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, you know, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech. Maybe the wrong business to be in.
And so the mayor of Atlanta played along, but as the appearance went on, the mayor started becoming silent and didn't respond anymore. An African-American mayor. And so Gavin Newsom is on fire tonight, offering a profanity-laced response to Sean Hannity, accusing Hannity of long ignoring what he calls President Trump's racist remarks and social media posts and showing fake outrage. Newsom goes on to say, and we're about to start with your telephone calls, you didn't give a S about the President of the United States of America posting an ape video of President Obama or calling African nations assholes, but you're going to call me racist for talking about my lifelong struggle with dyslexia? Spare me, you fake effing outrage. Sean. Wow. Lots to deal with here. And let's start with some of your telephone calls. Let's begin this morning with Sandra in Virginia. Line 1. Sandra, what's on your mind?
Hi. How are you?
Good. Please go ahead, Sandra. I'm short on time.
I just wanted to ask, was there any reason that the people in New York egging on the police officers, was there any reason for that or any known reason?
The officers were called to the park. Oftentimes in Washington Square Park, you have young people doing stupid things, from selling drugs. But there were reports of the kids on a rooftop. Somehow the officers responded. A group of all black males are being defiant, and they just pelted these officers with about 20 snowballs. And it just wasn't a pretty sight at all. Thank you so much for the call. Let's go to Danny, line 2, Long Island. Danny, good morning. What's on your mind?
Well, Dominic, I saw the video when I'm a retired lieutenant from the NYPD. 2 of my sons are presently police officers, and I don't have any more words left in my head because I see these videos almost every day of police officers not knowing how to fight, not knowing how to use a baton, not having any physical control of situations, standing there posing for cameras, allowing themselves to be verbally harassed and abused. And I don't know what to say anymore because there's not a cop I ever worked with that would have had a snowball thrown at them that would not have gone up to that person and immediately told them they were under arrest for disorderly conduct, creating a hazardous condition. And the minute they raised their hand, they would have had their teeth knocked in. And if you do that once, then the rest of the crowd is going to stop throwing snowballs. And this is what
Danny, when you were on the job, it was a different day. Now you have district attorneys that are friends of the criminals, and you know it's just horrible. But I agree with you because in your day and in my day on the other side, you did that to a New York City police officer. It was going to be a very long ride to the station house. Time for a break. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors
and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care. Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
How you accomplish snitching? You good? You okay? Let's do it.
One of the most despicable things I have ever seen. You hear one of these hoodlums, savage. Oh, he's a young man. How could you say he's a savage? All of them are savages. And that's why nobody wants to tell the truth. Oh, Dominic, you can't say things like that. Their mothers, you can't blame them that they're throwing snowballs directly in the face of New York City police officers. They're good young men from the community. They're savages. Somebody has to tell the truth. Let's go back to your telephone calls. They threw snowballs. Folks, I've been doing this, covering politics a long time. It's been leading up to this for a very long time. But this was the icing on the cake. Despicable. Those officers literally had these young men, these young punks that don't even know how to wipe their backsides, don't have a job, not going to school, not doing anything productive, and they're throwing snowballs directly in the faces of New York City uniformed police officers just hours ago. Let's go to line 2, John, Staten Island. John, what's on your mind?
Hey, good evening, Dominic. Love you. Listen, there's a lot of reasons for this. One is the NYPD runs the department like a Walmart, so we're trained never in tactics. We're all trained in how to refer to LGBTQ in a certain way. We watch videos about it. There's no training on tactics. It's ridiculous.
Wait, are you serious, John? Wait, John, are you serious? That's what you're trained in?
Oh yeah. We have to watch videos all the time. Do quizzes. Nothing. You're not going down like the lieutenant who called. Years ago, you go down to a tactical village a couple of times a year. You train. You do simulations training. All that's done. Now everything's via video. No tactics on car stops. No tactics on anything. Everything has to do with videos. The NYPD is run like a Walmart.
So,
in addition,
John,
we also know,
God forbid, God forbid you're in that situation. How you're on the job? How would you have responded?
well, you have two cops there, as far as I've seen the video, and you have a lot of people. So you have to start. You always have to think 3 steps ahead as a cop. If I engage one individual and I only have one partner as a backup, if he's busy, who's going to come behind me and take what and hit me with what? You have that weapon on your side that can cause mass chaos. So if the wrong person gets a hold of that weapon, the first thing you need to do is call for additional units immediately and assess. You do it any different than that, you're going to be in a situation where if that weapon gets loose, things can get a lot worse than snowballs. In addition, cops know that if we bring somebody in for hitting us with a snowball, the DA's office is going to laugh at us. That's it. There's almost nothing you can do at that very moment. And I feel bad for that lieutenant's kids that are on this job, that they're not telling him about the training that we get, which is all via video. They're more concerned with categorizing videos and data than actual police work.
Wow.
And the PVA is doing a terrible job. That's just my opinion.
John, thank you for the telephone call. These videos that I have seen about this incident are a clear indication of why we need the street crimes unit. You know, the guys that said we own the night. You need a unit of NYPD officers that when they respond, when that 1013 goes out, all the talking stops. When they respond, the knuckleheads, the savages have to know you either lay down or get down, meaning that you're in serious trouble.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Looking for a protein shake that tastes as good as it performs? Meet Rockin' Protein Max. Packed with 50 grams of fuel, it'll help you keep up when your day won't slow down. And because it's always creamy and never chalky, every sip tastes great. Even better, it's lactose-free and has 0 added sugar. It's not every day you find a protein shake you actually want to finish. Catch Rockin' Protein in the dairy cooler at a store near you. Rockin' Protein and Shamrock Farms are registered trademarks of Shamrock Foods Company.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And we are back. So I'm hoping that this gentleman calls back. I don't understand people these days and their political philosophies. Al in Crown Heights, and it says here on my screen that Al wants to argue with me on my position of these young savages that threw snowballs at the police officers. So I don't know exactly what Al wanted to argue about, but please call back because I want to hear you out. But understand this, Al, if you do call back, it is, and unfortunately every line is lit up, so it'll take you a while to get through, but it is the behavior of people like you for why these young people do what they do. Because you make an excuse for them. Oh, they're young men, they're African Americans, they're moms, they're good kids, they're good. They're throwing a snowball at a police officer. So understand, Al, if you call back, I'll take your call, I'll hear you out. But understand, you're part of the problem. Anybody that can defend something like this is part of the problem. And it really is that simple. Let's continue with your calls. Let's go to line 3. Timothy in Brooklyn. Timothy, what's on your mind?
Hey, Mr. Dominic, thank you for taking my call and Happy New Year. Listen, sir, I just listened to both of those clips with what went on in Washington Square Park, and I am disgusted. And yes, they are savages, and I'm getting sick and tired of people making excuses for these kids. Since they have so much time on their hands, why don't they go volunteer, build up your resume until you get a paying job?
Hey, Timothy, come on, man. Timothy, you're making too much sense. You're messing up the excuse train for why they're high school dropouts, for why there's baby mama drama, on and on and on and on. You're making too much sense, Timothy. They don't want to hear that.
Sir, back in the days, and I'm going back nearly 40 years, We could walk through Washington Square Park with no problem after coming from the club, going to find some fast food place to get something to eat. And there was no problem. Everybody got along. And even if somebody was doing something that they had no business doing, it was out of sight, out of mind. But you knew that they were there. But nobody harassed each other. But disrespecting NYPD, I'm against that.
Right, because they're our last line of defense. And I can tell you, Timothy, growing up my day in the Bronx, you didn't have situations like this. Because if there was a situation like this, if mama wasn't disciplining you at home, you better believe, and if there was no daddy, like in my case, no father, you better believe when the NYPD cuffs you and you're going to the station house, it's going to be a long ride to the station house. And you're going to learn some respect then. You're going to learn some respect when you're in the back of that patrol car. When I was growing up, we didn't have situations like this. There were rules.
Agree. Same here.
And the number one rule is you do not disrespect police officers. If you do so, you do it at your own peril.
Well, and you know what? We need to go back to basics.
We do. We really do, Timothy. Thank you for the wonderful call. Let's go to Rose, line 1, Long Island. What's on your mind, Rose?
Hi, Dominic. I just want to remind you, I'm going to remind you every time, all of this chaos just reinforces my opinion that you should run for mayor. You wouldn't tolerate this. You'd be out there saying what's wrong with the system. And, what would I do in this situation? Whatever happened to Mounted? Give them some polo sticks. Let them go out there. Unleash the dogs. This is craziness. I mean, if it's tolerated, do you think it's going to happen again? Of course it's going to happen again. Over and over again. There has to be a message sent. We will not tolerate this. I will not let my officers be confronted with this without any repercussions. They need to go to jail. And why not, if they're so afraid of using a baton or a weapon, give them these burner guns. Knock them out, so they could come and remove them, lock them up. I don't know. I didn't
Rose,
see the video.
Rose, perhaps this is not the responsible thing to say, but and perhaps it's one of the reasons why I'm not in politics, because I as mayor, I would literally have within the police department my unit that I call the Goon Squad, and whenever I need the Goon Squad, they know I got their backs unconditionally, but it means you go in and you crack some heads. You get the job done. You teach them respect the hard way. And this is why we had the street crimes unit, and the thugs were afraid of the street crimes unit. They were giving their guns to their girlfriends to carry. But oh no, look at all the stops of minorities. We're going to federal court. Oh no, all the stops of minorities. So then we have the Amadou Diallo situation. We're done with the street crimes unit. And now the criminals own the night. The criminals own the street. Rose, thank you for the great call. Let's go to line 2. Joe in Trenton, New Jersey. What's on your mind, Joe?
Yeah, Dominic, in response to that, the clip he played with Gavin Newsom replying to Sean Hannity, look, two wrongs don't make a right. But in Trump's case, before he became president, Obama sicked his people on him with that Russiagate. 2 years he was tied up with the mowers. Then they went after his kids, and then you got Joe Biden with his 4 years, who, in my eyes, that was Barack Obama's third term, and you got now with the judges tying him up. He's got every reason in the world to be pissed off at Barack Obama, but with the racist crap, that you could have left that out. But still, can you blame him for being mad? They tried getting him and his family, bankrupted them all. He's got every right to be pissed off.
Not just his family, Joe, but I mean they violated against Trump every rule there is. I mean, any man worth his salt, any man knows you don't violate another man's woman. That's just a no-no. And for them to raid Mar-a-Lago and go through Melania Trump's negligees and nightwear, that's a no-no. You just don't do that. And that's what was done to Trump. And he hasn't returned the favor. He hasn't done it. Can you imagine if Trump had Michelle Obama's home raided and agents went through her nighties and underwear and bras and so on? Can you imagine that, Joe? What would happen in America?
What would be going on in the cities in America? Exactly, Dominic. Exactly. And not only that, Dominic, they put a target
just
on his
wrong.
back.
It's wrong. You don't violate a man like that.
Yeah.
And that's what they did to President Trump's wife. It's horrible. Thank you very much, Joe, for the great call. Let's go to Frank in Maine, line 5. Good morning, Frank. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Dominic. Always a pleasure whenever I get the chance. Dominic, this behavior in Washington Square Park goes back to kindergarten and the first grade. When I was a teacher, we seen it, and the parents enabled it. And they didn't care. Well, the parent or the guardian didn't care. They would accept that behavior. And now you see it coming full circle. And that's all I have to say, Dominic. This starts way when they're in kindergarten, when they're in pre-K. They don't care. Certain elements, they come and they enable this behavior. They like this behavior. It's like they want their kids to be like this. And that's all I have to say.
Wow.
It goes way back.
Thank you, Frank. I don't know anybody in their right mind that wants their kids to be this way. So Al in Crown Heights on line 2 is back. It says here, Al, on my screen that you want to argue with me on my comments on this. What is there to argue about on this?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Al. Go right ahead.
Okay. You had no indignation when Eric Garner was killed, when George Floyd.
Okay, Al, wait, Al. How do you know?
You never let give to
Al. I never what now? I never what?
You never let your callers talk.
Well, because Al, I don't have all day for ignorance. I'm sorry. I can't let any caller just go on. When you mention the Eric Garner case, listen for a second. I'm going to give you your say. Listen for a second. You don't know what you're talking about. My experience with the Eric Garner case, you don't know what you're talking about. Frankly, you're talking out of your ass. You have no idea what you're talking about right now. Do you know? And let me tell you how you don't know what you're talking about. And then I'll be quiet. Do you know it's Eric Garner's mother that turned to me? And did at least 4 or 5 interviews with me. Do you know, Al, I've received awards for my coverage of the Eric Garner case as well as the Amadou Diallo case? You're talking out of your ass. You don't know what you're talking about. So go ahead.
Well, okay. Give me a trick. Do you think that Eric Garner, the choking death was justified by the police?
Okay, Al, I'm going to answer you. What does that have to do with a group of savages throwing snowballs at police officers?
Wait. Why is black youths always called savages by you?
If they were white youth throwing snowballs at police officers, I would call them savages.
You call any white people savages.
Okay, now, Al. Don't you understand that you're part of the problem? Why do you think these black kids are acting like this, Al?
You part of the problem.
Al, your ignorance is exactly why our children are not amounting to anything. Al, are you defending these savages?
I don't call them savages.
Okay, are you defending these outstanding young men of character throwing snowballs at police officers? Are you defending them? Are you defending them? Are you defending them?
I'm not saying that. But you.
Okay, so all right, so time out. So you're not saying that, but you want to take exception at what I'm saying, and you want to pivot to something else. Which is what we do. I don't want to focus on the bad. I want to know why you didn't denounce this, Dominic. Okay, so wait, Al, I'm going to give you your say. You don't have to talk over me. I'm going to give you your say. You got the floor. What do you want to say? But hit it, quit it, and get to the point.
I want to say that you always defend the police, no matter
and
what.
You darn right. I almost said you damn right. You damn right. I always defend the police. You know why?
Why?
I defend the police, and 1,000 times out of 1,000 times. You're absolutely correct.
They never wrong.
I'm not saying they're never wrong. But because they put their life on the line, they deserve the benefit of the doubt.
Okay,
Al, can you tell me why you're not denouncing these young men that threw these snowballs? Why are you not denouncing them?
I will not denounce them because unless you denounce the police.
Dominic is done with you.
Stop wasting my time. Lose Al. Let's go to Patrick in Indiana, line 4. Patrick, what's on your mind?
Yes, I agree with Rose that the police, if Mayor Mamdani won't issue it to them, they should get their own burner launchers and.
No, they can't do that. They have to follow protocol. They have to follow protocol.
They'll just be immobilized for 30 to 40
they have
minutes.
To follow.
And the police can put them in handcuffs and take them to
they
the
have to
station,
follow
put them in prison.
protocol. Patrick, they can't just do what they want to do. They have to follow protocol. They have to follow protocol.
Well, if they had burner launchers and they didn't die, they'd just be immobilized for 30 to 40 minutes.
If the city of New York, if the police academy does not bring in...
Because they wouldn't kill the people, they'd just be immobilized.
Patrick,
so
I understand what you're saying.
Prosecutors would have to make up a new law.
Patrick, they have tasers. If the police department does not approve of these burner launchers, they can't use them. They can't just do whatever they want to do. But thank you so much for the telephone call. So, I tried to listen to Al in Crown Heights, but it's the ignorance, folks. And this is I'm not going to pull any punches. This is why black people can't get nowhere. Lack of education and the ignorance. It's the ignorance on top of the ignorance on top of the ignorance, and this goes on from generation to generation to generation. Time for a break. We're coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
You accomplish nothing. You good? You okay? Let's do it.
Pelting New York City police officers with snowballs. It happened hours ago, Washington Square Park, Lower Manhattan, literally about 20-25 snowballs directly to the face, the back of the head. Officers taken to the hospital. And these savages, they thought it was funny, not realizing that the joke is on them. So what are you going to do, young man, a year from now? What promising future do you have? Are you going to college? Nope. Do you have a job? Nope. What are you going to do? I got baby mamas. But what are you going to do, young man, with yourself? Oh, the white man won't let me get ahead. The white man is keeping me down. No, clown. You're keeping yourself down. It really is that simple. I'm looking at my Twitter at my ex, the lovely DMS. She says, come on, Dominic. You know damn well Mr. Mayor, the boy child, is reveling in this. He's probably looking at the videos again and again and again. He and his buddies like Hassan Pico, that's true, DMS, and Jamani Williams, the public advocate, and Tiffany Caban from the city council, all avowed cop haters. They could have a party, a video party because these people all hate cops. They are Marxists, along with a couple of dozen more from the city council who pledged themselves to the policies of the DSA, the socialists. They call themselves progressive, but they are Marxists, and they are reveling tonight. Well, I think one of them for sure is on line 4, Russell in White Plains. Russell, what's on your mind?
Google the Dobbs Ferry Deli shooting.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Hey, Russell, are you still there, whatever your name is? Are you still there?
I'm still here. Google the Dobbs
Okay,
Ferry
why?
Deli shooting.
Okay, I want to know, why do you do, no, wait. I didn't hang up on you. Tell me, why do you do that?
Because Janine Pirro said it isn't here to the cop.
Okay, all right, okay. What, do you live in your mother's basement and she pats you on the head and make you lunch and dinner and breakfast every day? Why do you realize how stupid you sound doing that? And how nutty you sound?
Dobbs Ferry Deli shooting.
Right, do you realize how nutty you sound?
Dominic is done with you.
Let's go to line 1, George in New Jersey. Let's leave the nuts alone. George, what's on your mind?
Hey, Dominic, man, you got a lot of patience, man. What happened to this world? I don't know. But you know what? Besides these young savages, George, the guy, I think it was Al in Crown Heights, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let you get your say. He says, oh, you didn't say anything about Eric Garner. I've interviewed Eric Garner's mother. She turned to me for help. He doesn't know what he's talking about. For the first 15 years of my career, I'm going to give you your say, all the major police brutality cases came through me. All the families came to me. And so to please a clown like that, and I know I shouldn't validate him, I'm going to post this morning a picture where you see the two mothers smiling ear to ear with me, the mother of Eric Garner and the mother of Amadou Diallo, and I'm in the middle of the photo. But these two, I'm going to post this simply because this clown said, oh, you never said anything about... But I support law enforcement because as I've gone along in my career, I realize what they do for all of us. Go ahead, because we're short on time and you only got about 20 seconds. Go ahead, George. Dominic, I agree with you, man. When they play the race card, I get rid of them. I do the same thing. I love the show, and you're doing the right thing, and you're doing a good job. Okay,
well,
so, I don't want to stay on here too long because I want to keep, you only got a little time. But I'll call you again.
No, it's time to wrap it up, and I'm coming back 3 p.m. Eastern. Folks, it's been coming to this for years. Now, if one of those cops would have took out their gun and shot one of them fools in the face, oh, my child was an honor student. He was going to Harvard. He was going to change the world. No, he wasn't. He wasn't going to do a darn thing in his life because, Mom, that's the way you raise that savage. That's the truth, folks. Nobody wants to deal with it.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our country has to offer, especially health care. Across every state, every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.